Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Black Belt Barber Podcast, the first and only podcast about entrepreneurship for barbers and beauty professionals. My name is Chico. I'm your host. Follow me on on Instagram, Chico Invictus, and this podcast is sponsored by Invictus Podcast Studios, and I have here today Mr. Robert, our guest. Mr. Robert, can you start sharing who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, first off, thanks for letting me be a part of the podcast. It's a pleasure. I'm originally from Philadelphia and been down here in South Florida for about 22 years. And what brought me down here is I actually lived down in South America. I was in Bolivia. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Bolivia, South America for 2 years. So I got a little taste of the Latin flavor, went back to Philadelphia, and I decided, you know what, I got to move to South Florida. So I've been here 22 years, and I've been with a company called DALE Carnegie for the last 18 years.
What do you guys do there?
We basically help people take command. And what does that mean? That help them overcome whatever their challenges are, whether it's leadership, sales, public speaking, the people side of the business. And I do 3 different hats. I'm in business development. I go out and sell the programs. I'm a trainer. I'm certified in all the programs. And I also do coaching. I work with executives as well as individuals one-on-one.
Cool. Can you explain, because I just recorded a story here, and can you explain who's Dale Carnegie and what it's about, the book, and why people should read the book?
Sure,
you know?
sure. Dale Carnegie was born in Missouri back in the 19th century, and he basically started out Dale Carnegie in New York City in 1912. And it started out as a public speaking program. So people business professionals, just wanted to get on their feet and be able to articulate, communicate their message. And he found there was a big need for that. Through the years, he realized it was not only communication, but also people skills. People needed to deal with others, how to build relationships, how to collaborate. So he wrote a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was based on about 20 years of experience and research in 1936. And that's really the foundation. So whether we're talking about sales, we're talking about leadership, it's how can we build better relationships with others, and how can we communicate in a way that people respond to us and we're able to influence them.
Wow, as a leader, how can I ask this? What is the importance to read this book for a leader?
For a leader, yeah. Well, I think it's about influence. You know, how am I going to get people to think differently, feel differently, behave differently? And that's influence. And this book will give you some tools and tips to be able to influence others. So that's why leaders should read it.
How long have you been training people for this methodology? When did you start?
Yeah, I started 18 years ago, and I got involved with Dale Carnegie through networking. I was working at a HR consulting firm for a couple of years, and one of the fellow consultants was a trainer for Dale Carnegie. And like a lot of people, I read How to Win Friends and Influence People back in college, and I was interested in, and I said, I want to take the program. And he said, yeah, that sounds good. And nothing really happened for 2-3 years, and then finally said, hey, they're looking for people. They were looking for people in sales. I was more of an operations trainer background. But I got involved with it that way through networking, and it's been there 18 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yep.
What you would say about someone that it's about to giving up on people? Let's say I'm a leader, I have a barber shop, or I have any type of business. Some people kind of frustrated with people. What do you would say that can help?
Yeah,
those people?
welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club, right?
Yeah, everybody frustrated. It's difficult. I mean, barbers have their owners of their own business. Nowadays it's the dynamics have changed, but people haven't. I mean, it's still the fundamental same. People want to be respected. They want to be valued. They want to make a contribution. And as an owner, how do we help people do that? So we need to understand people even more.
Do you see a difference between when you started 18 years ago? Let's say they talk about, the millennials and this new generation of...
Generation Z, they call?
Yeah.
I don't know which generation we are right now, which letter. But do you see a difference between training people 18 years ago and now? Have you had the experience training young people? Do you notice a difference?
One of the things, I try to get away from labels. I mean, like I'm a Gen Xer. I'm the older end now. And I never liked the label for myself, so why am I going to do that with others? So I got away with that. And I think with Carnegie, one of the things that I like about Carnegie, it's not really, you can't group a whole group like X, Z, or whatever the letter is. People are different. And each of you are different. So how can I engage each of you in a way so I can understand you? And that's what Carnegie's about. It's not about this group. So are there differences? There probably are. There are. I mean, definitely with technology. I mean, people are more apt with the technology. And even we've evolved. The last 2 years, we've evolved from in-person to virtual. And I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I was kicking and screaming. I was not on the virtual bandwagon. I was an in-person guy. 16 years doing it in person. I'm like, oh, this virtual, it's not for me. Well, guess what happened? There's no in-person training going on, so I had to adjust. I gotta move go into the virtual world, and I'll tell you, my attitude wasn't there, but behavior, I did it, and then after 3, 6, 9 months, I realized, virtual, it's just a different format, and now I do about 90% virtually and 10% in person.
Do you get the same results doing virtually?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I know one of the interests in sales. I recently did a program. One of the clients was a young professional. She had a production company, and we did a virtually sales program, and she closed the deal worth $100,000. I mean, that's whether I did it in person or virtual, doesn't matter. The results are there.
Great.
What are the average age people that are looking for the guidance from you guys?
It depends. I think, getting back to the different generations, I think the younger generation is more apt to learn. They want to learn. Like when I've gotten questioned by HR professionals, like, how do I retain my employees? And I know from a lot of stuff I've read, the younger generations, they want development opportunities. They want to get better, and that fits nicely for us. So I think there's going to be some opportunities for Dale Carnegie. But is there one certain generation? No, I think it goes back to, for me, it's about, do you want to be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today? And people make that decision. One of the things I would say, Lucia, for me, I've changed over the years as a trainer. Before, I used to be like, everybody needs to take this. Now I realize not everybody wants to take it. Okay, so who wants to take it? Who is committed to do it? All right, how can I help them? And that's given me more patience and more understanding.
Yeah, people that are interested in growing and learning.
Sure.
And not everybody, because some people don't want. Some people feel like, I'm fine, I don't need training, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then you're just wasting energy and time with people that don't really want to take advantage of what you're offering.
This is a question I ask for people I coach, and I coach some very successful people. They're doing well. I said, are you getting the two questions? I go, are you getting the results you want to get? And if they are, who am I to tell them to do something different? Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But the second question I ask is, could you get even better results? And the reality is, we could all get better results. But the people that want to make that commitment are on board, and the people like, nah, I'm good. Fine. We're not the right fit. So that's a change for me. Before, 10 years ago, I'd be like, no, you got to do it. You got to do it. No, it's not a good fit.
Each person has their own time, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I changed my mentality when I was 29 years old, and that was the time that I started learning, because I opened my mind. I want to grow. I wanted to learn more. So everything that I study or looking for courses and books was always like adding up to my life for the good, for the better.
Correct.
Yeah. Communication. Public speaking, you were saying?
Sure.
So communication, actually, I need to improve in that. How do I enroll in your course or whatever program you have? How do I enroll, and how is the program for whoever wants to improve public communication?
Sure. The program, you could contact me and I can give you the information, or they go to a DaleCarnegieSouthFlorida.com website. Well, we have a 2-day program. It's called High Impact Presentations. And we videotape you. Actually, I have one starting tomorrow. So if everybody wants to get this will go out after the fact. But
what time tomorrow?
It's 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. So it's tomorrow. It's in Fort Lauderdale, the Broward Performing Arts Center, and we video. There's 6 presentations. Videotape you six times, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to get on your feet. And most people don't see it. Like, one of the things that's been good with the virtual world is, I've seen myself on camera. Like, I've gone through all the training, but now you see yourself on camera, like, oh, I don't like my face. I got to work on my face, eyebrows, and all that. So a lot of people don't get that feedback. So I think the last couple of years we've gotten that feedback, whether we liked it or not. But with the program, we've recorded, and there's 2 trainers. So one's in the room helping you do it, and then once you're done, you go into a review room and say, hey, what's working and what's not.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
You should take Tico.
Yeah, I want to do it. Maybe tomorrow if I 9 to 5. If I don't
Yeah.
have, I'm gonna talk to my wife and
Okay,
see my agenda
yeah,
and see.
yeah.
I might
Oh,
attend
it's
to it.
it's a game changer. It's you know what the key is. People ask you if you want to ask me advice. What's going to make you a better speaker? My one advice to everybody is get out of here. Get out of your head.
Jump on it.
Exactly.
No, just get out of your head.
You keep
It's like
judging yourself all the time, right? That's why you don't do it, because
Yeah.
you keep. It's a little selfish, actually, because you're always concerned about what others
Sure.
are thinking about you. And then if you stop thinking about it,
Just
stop
talk.
being selfish and thinking about yourself, do because other people need to listen your message and you can help people. Then
Sure.
you're going to do it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I was thinking about when you said with the barbers and increasing their business. I was thinking they have a captive audience. You got people, you got clients coming in. They trust you. You know, people. Beauty's a big part of everybody's life. So that's the biggest challenge for a lot of people in sales. How do I make that emotional connection? You already have it.
You already have it. That's true.
Those techniques, but the life you
Yeah.
lived before, the experience,
Yeah.
and how much you grow and who you are now,
Yeah.
also can help a lot of people.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
just expressing yourself and all that.
Yeah.
I think what he's trying to say is that people need to build connections first before they sell something, and barbers already have that connection.
Oh yeah.
That's what he
Too.
was trying to say, that barbers already have that connection. It's a very deep relationship between barbers and clients, so it makes it even easier to sell, to offer them things, or to influence them because they already trust you. Right.
I called Ma Kelly, 88-year-old Ma Kelly, mother of 6, and I'm one of 6. And I called her yesterday, and I said, Happy Mother's Day, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what's going on? You got plans? No, but my big thing is I'm going to get my hair done on Thursday, and your brother's taking me. That was the best Mother's Day gift. She's been going to Margarita for the last 40 years.
Yes. They develop this
Yeah.
long-lasting relationship with their
Absolutely.
professional that takes care of them. Yeah, and barbers have these gifts.
I used
of
to say
building
we
this.
are a father. Sometimes we are mother behind the chair. Was like or shrink.
Sure.
Or
No,
you know,
absolutely.
behind the chair we are a positive person that can make an impact in other people's right there. We're touching their heads, but also their hearts.
Well,
you know?
you think about what you do. I mean, the whole person's self-esteem. Like we're in the same business. Like Carnegie, I try to help people overcome fear so they're more confident. Yeah, you mentioned about public speaking. In this 2-day program, I help people get out of their head, be less critical, and then just be conversational like this. But you're doing the same way. Like they sitting there, I don't like this. You fix it up, and they're like, oh, I look good.
Yeah.
So their confidence. We're doing the same thing. We're just helping
True.
them, build up their confidence in different ways. Really, when you think about it.
That's true.
Big time.
Yeah.
Anything else? I was thinking here. We are barbers behind the chair. We
Yeah.
are self-employees, and we constantly have many people in our chair, right?
Yeah.
How is the book and the strategy that you guys teach? How does the Dale Carnegie book affect our income, for
Sure,
example,
sure.
or affect our the way we make money?
Yeah. Yeah.
How the strategies? How that affect us?
Sure. Well, I mean, let's think about this. Dale Carnegie, the book, it's about relationships and how we can build stronger relationships. That's the foundation. So what's the benefit of that? Well, how do we build relationships? Relationships are based on what? Trust. We would all agree with that, right? So Carnegie's thinking is, how do we build trust? Well, I build trust in one of 2 ways. One is credibility. I do what I say what I'm going to do. So if people sit down in the chair, they're like, all right, I want this. And you give them that, you're credible. They're like, all right, he did the right thing. I'm going to come back. And the second one is empathy, putting yourself in others' shoes. And so in the book, those principles, the first 9 human relations principles, are how can we be more empathetic with our clients? How we can build that trust with our clients, build that relationship. Now, there's 2 key benefits of that, in terms of the business. If I do a good job, great job with the cut, and they have a good experience. Excuse me. They have a good experience with the coming to my shop. There's 2 good things that come from that. If they have a good experience, what's going to happen? They're probably going to come back, right? So the retention is good. And what's another thing? Another R word,
they're going to
Refer you.
refer you.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. So really, when you think about retention referrals, it's about the experience. And the experience is, what type of relationships am I building? Are they based on trust? Am I credible? Did I do what I say I'm going to do? And am I empathetic, put myself in those shoes? And that's what that book's all about. How can we be more empathetic and build trust with people?
In the golden
Gold
book.
That's right, yeah.
It was saying the most like beautiful
Yeah.
word in the world is your name.
Sure.
So I learned that like 5 years ago.
Nice.
When someone when you talk to someone for the first time, and actually we have the iPad at our barbershop, and we can see every single client's name.
Nice.
I go over there, I check the name, and I call them by the name.
Perfect.
How important is that?
That's key. You hit it on the nose. I mean, that's what makes the person feel important. That's their name. That's unique to them. That's a home run. This person cares.
If the person is shy, let's say a barber,
Yep.
we work with many people, but if the person is shy, how can that affect them in a way? And what you suggest so they can do? What do you suggest they can do?
Sure.
So if you're shy, we are in the people business.
Yep.
So if they're shy, what do you suggest?
Well, for shy people, one of the things I found with shy people are usually pretty good listeners. They have that going for them. So that's an
have that
advantage
plus.
over extroverts, because extroverts just talk.
I talk a lot.
Yeah. So the shy people, there's a principle in there. It says become genuinely interested in other people. That's not principle number 4 in Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People book. So for shy people, it's a matter of asking questions. So you're shy, so you don't have to talk. Ask questions. Hey, where you from? Where do you live? Tell me about your family.
3 questions that you make, you have a conversation for another 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I find the second one, like, not where you're from. Like Brazil, we had a conversation about that. I'm from Philadelphia. Like I've traveled around. I've traveled throughout Latin America. So I've found people either love where they're from or they hate it where they're from. They couldn't wait to get out. But that's a great way just to make a connection.
Great way.
We're talking about shy people. What about the extroverts that don't listen?
Yeah.
What is your recommendation for them?
Yeah, that's a little. It's more of a challenge. Yeah, they have to see. Let's get back to the key to building relationships is trust. So we need to be empathetic. We need to be credible. So how do we build that? Well, it's through understanding. If people come in, again, if I'm a barber, somebody comes sit in my chair and I'm japping, how do I know what he or she wants?
Exactly.
So I gotta tone it down and be like, really listen, because that's where the understanding. And there's something real important. It's listen to understand versus listening to respond. So how can we listen to understand? What does this person really want? So the extroverts, it's the challenge is that listening.
We notice in our experience as business owners, which is different than just working for someone. We had different personalities, like barbers with different personalities.
Sure.
And one thing we notice is the ones that are really shy and don't talk much, they are perceived as insecure. So the client doesn't feel that confident because they are too quiet, or if the client asks a question, they don't give a complete answer because they're shy.
Sure.
And this make clients feel insecure. And we also notice that the ones that talk too much are kind of annoying because then he doesn't let the client talk. He's talking over people. He doesn't listen. We noticed the most successful barbers in our shop were the ones that found the middle. They know when it's time to listen and really understand what the client wants, and they know the right time to talk. And they are really successful even if they don't cut hair as good, even if you're not great barbers in the sense that the technical skills are not developed yet, but they have a better result than the ones that talk too much or don't talk at all.
They have a higher retention for the clients.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, it gets back to the experience, right? I mean, the same thing as like I've been 18 years with Carnegie. I mean, what's the training experience like? As a trainer, am I doing everything technically to perfection? Maybe some days, yeah. Maybe other days, not so much. But the key is the experience. If people walk out of there and say, yeah, I got something. The reason I'm here, that one session we had at Jim Moran, you're like, hey, yeah, this seems that hour and 10 minutes, whatever, made an impression to say, all right, this would be worthwhile to talk with this guy a little more.
Yes.
So that's what we want to focus on. And you're actually right. There's a guy named Daniel Pink. He wrote a book called To Sell is Human. To Sell is Human. And he talks about, it's not introvert, extrovert, but it's ambivert. And it's exactly what you just said. When's the time to listen and when's the time to speak, connect with the clients.
And let me ask you a question. This is actually personal. I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
What is your recommendation? So if you met a person that you see that you don't have nothing in common with that person, you say, oh my God, this person is so different.
Yeah.
Whatever subject they want to talk, it's not interesting to me. What is your tip to actually try to develop a relationship with that person if you feel that like you have nothing in common with that person?
Well, it depends on the context. If this is somebody, if this is a professional context, I have to work with this person, I'm going to be professional. And I've had people that, I have one individual that I work with, loves cars, big time into cars. I could give two hoots about cars. The cars is not my thing. But okay, like when I'm around him, let's talk cars. That's what's of interest to him, so I'll talk cars. And that's the context. Are he and I going to go out and be buddy-buddy? No, we're different people. And that's something I've grown a lot more going through the years. Like I said, I do coaching, and for some individuals, I'm not the right fit. We're just different personalities. So I understand that I may be another individual on our team may be a better fit as a coach for them. Like before, I used to get upset about that, but now it's just different personalities. It's okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tips.
Yeah.
Talking about relationship.
Yep.
Here's a little analogy, right?
Yep.
If I get your cell phone.
Yep.
And if I dial someone's number, someone really relevant, important to you, and I dial his number and I talk to him like, hey, this is Chico. I was recommended by Mr. Robert. This person won't give me the attention as much when you recommend or you say my name to him. When you call,
Correct.
and recommend me,
Sure.
will be a totally different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you say? Totally different.
There's a vibe. Yeah. The
vibe
Yeah,
in it.
absolutely. Yep.
So in that case, developing a relationship behind the chair as a barber, what are the benefits in total for someone that works behind the chair as a hairstylist, a barber?
Well, I think you hit on it. Like if you have a good rapport, good relationship with your client, get your client to be your salesperson. Get your client to say, you know what, you got to go to Chico. He's the man, right? Or she's the woman. Whatever it may be. To your case in point about if I'm in the barber chair and I say, yeah, Chico, you should call this. Yeah, you'll call them and be like, what? Okay, great. But if I called them, it's going to be a lot more, have a greater impact. And I have an example of this Thursday. I got a meeting with someone, an individual who's in a program back in 2006 with me. She's now moved up. She's an HR, the VP of HR for her company. And she called me the other day, said, hey, listen, I got one of my managers is interested in public speaking, and you came to mind. I said, that's great. I said, well, you're going to make the introduction for me. She said, yeah, no problem. She did the introduction. I got a meeting Thursday. It's everything's smooth sailing because it came from her. So definitely. So for the barbers, get your clients to be your spokespeople,
To be your marketing.
And all you got to ask. Here's. This is actually, I wanted to share this because this is a good thing. I was thinking about barbers, and you have a lot of low-hanging fruit. They can get a lot of business from existing clients instead of going out like prospecting. So we have in Carnegie, we have something called a client interview. So you're one of, I come to you, and so when you're doing your thing, you could say, hey, Robert, what these are three questions you can ask. Number one, Robert, why'd you come to my shop first? I don't know. I heard about.
I always
you.
make that question.
Yeah. Do you? Okay, excellent. That's great. Yeah, just find out how they, through the paper.
We call that client consultation, but go ahead.
Okay,
finish.
all right.
Yeah.
And then the second question is, what do you like about my service? What do you like about the way I cut hair, or style hair, all that? Just find out why. What's the specifics about it? Like a lot of people in sales don't understand the value of a testimonial. And when you get a client right there, then you're doing it, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are great. Yeah, I like it because you do this, that." Or they may say, or there may be silence, and then there's an opportunity like, all right, well, maybe I'm not doing as well as I think I am doing, but you have an opportunity to reclaim them. So why'd you select this? What's the value? And the third one is, what can we do to improve? What can I do to improve?
3 simple questions.
3 simple questions, and it's powerful. It's low-hanging fruit, because if these people are coming back to us consistently, these are our champions, really. They're going to give you the testimonials that you need to prospect with others. I don't know how much barbers you guys prospect, but that's the podcast. This would be a good avenue to get your word out.
And they also going to think like, wow, this person are interested to change and improve the service with us, so I might give you another chance.
Clients love being listened. Me as a client, personally.
Sure.
I love when I go to a place or I buy a product or whatever, and someone afterwards asks me, what did you like about it? What you didn't like? I feel like they want to improve and they want to listen to my thoughts and insights. So if you do this to your clients, if the barbers or beauty professionals take the time to ask those questions, it will be really helpful. Over the 5 years that we have the barbershop, the best solutions we found for our problems came from clients and from our staff, because they brought suggestions and it really solved the problems that we were having at the time. So it's really powerful.
One of the things, absolutely correct. It's about the value. It's about value. And one of the things we talked about in Jim Moran, and I'll share with for the podcast is there was an article back in 2008, 2009, the Great Recession. And the article basically said, how do your clients view you? Do they view you as a vendor, a partner, or an advisor? Now, if they view us as vendor, it's a transaction. Like, I can go to any barbershop. So that's not a good space. They'll just, there's no value provided. It's just dollars and cents, and there's no loyalty. So we don't want that. A partner, what does that mean? That means I develop a relationship with my clients. I understand their need, wants, and I satisfy them. I provide value. An advisor, it's a partner on steroids. This is like a resource. They come to, like you said, I am father, mother, psychologist. Like you're an advisor. This is my therapy. I don't only get my hair done, but I get I feel peace of mind when I walk out of there.
There was one specific client of Tico's that his wife shared with me one day. She's like, my husband count the day when he's going to see Tico. He loves going there, not only because of the haircut, but because of the conversation, because they talk about business, they talk about a lot of things they have in common, and he's always looking forward to his next appointment. And she said, if he could, he would come 3 times a week just to be able to talk to Tico.
Well, maybe that's a service you could provide. Maybe expand there again. There's opportunities. Maybe just have a powwow or. Hey, I remember my grandfather, but it was a different reason. My grandfather, he was off the boat from Ireland, and when I was young, he used to come out. He lived in Philadelphia. We lived right outside Philly, and he came every week to get his hair cut. But the reason he came every week is not only go to enjoy the barber. There was a bar right next door to the barber shop, so he went to get his hair cut, then he went into the bar and had his drinks, and my mom had to pick him up.
I have a question for you about difficult people. So. Let's say in both positions, if you work in a shop and you're a barber, and then you have a very difficult, toxic person working with you, like as a coworker, or if you're the owner and in your team you have one person that is toxic to the whole team, always negative, complaining. What is your advice? How to deal with those type of people that are always, negative, always putting you down, always complaining? What's your advice on that?
On both sides.
On both sides, yeah.
Yes.
So that's why the principles, go back to the book, these principles are excellent principles to help deal with that. So which side do you want to start with first?
Employee.
You have a coworker.
I have a coworker that's called. All right. So one of the things when people are, causing a lot of problems, it's really they're disengaged. All right. So we got to find out why they're disengaged. Is it the job itself? Is it maybe they're a bad fit for the job? Maybe they're not maybe they shouldn't be there, right? There's certain people in certain roles. There's a skill set. As a manager, I always say here's a couple things you need to know about your people. Number one, their needs and wants. Why, what do they need and want besides a paycheck? Number two, their strengths. What do they do well? And number three, their vision, where they're at, where they want to go. So as a manager, I need to know that about my employees. All right. But we're talking coworker to coworker here. So coworker to coworker, one of the things with difficult coworker, it goes back to those first 9 principles. What type of rapport relationship do I have with them? If I have a relationship with somebody, like my best friend, I have a good relationship with my best friend, and he's acting like a you-know-what, I can have that conversation. I can call him out, and, we'll have a little stuff, but it'll blow over, and he'll be like, yeah, I was acting like a you-know-what, and we're good. It's when we don't have those relationships that things fester. We don't, the shy people don't want to bring it up, and the over-aggressive go to it, and we start knocking heads. So, find the source of it. What is it about? I mean, once again, some conflict is personality-based. We just have different personalities. And if we can understand that, be like, okay, we don't have to be buddies, but we have to be professional. And if the person can't get on the professional thing, it just continues, then as a manager, a leader, owner, whatnot, we got to think, is this person adding more value than they're costing? And I'll get back to are they in the right role? If they're not in the right role, is there another role within the organization that caters to their strengths? If that's a no, then we got 2 strikes. Maybe this is not the right fit.
Yes.
And that's where, from a leader, we need to be friendly and firm. I always say that, friendly and firm. I need to understand my people, what their needs and wants, strengths, and vision is, but I also need to be firm. I got to be accountable.
Yes.
And if they're not doing what I need them to be doing, and they're not happy, let's have the conversation. Hey, Chico, it doesn't seem like you really want to be here. We're constantly fighting. What's going on? Is this? Oh, you're right, Robert. I don't want to be here. Okay, well then let's part ways.
Each one find your ways, right?
Yeah. Like let's be adults about it.
Yes.
But it's hard. It's hard because most people don't have the relationship, so they kind of just hope it goes away.
Yeah, and they do nothing about it, right?
No.
And it's dangerous as when you're in a position as a manager or as an owner, if you don't do anything thinking it will go away, it just gets worse.
Correct.
And it might create a very
toxic
environment for the others because they need someone to do something, and themselves as employees, there's not much they can do because that person is still there every day creating conflicts or maybe creating this bad energy or whatever it might be the case. So the manager or owner, they can just expect, this will go away. Let me pretend let's live as it is and we'll fix it itself, because you won't, right? Yeah. It's time to step in and say, hey, let's have a conversation. It's a difficult conversation, but we need to talk about this.
But people aren't comfortable with that. They would benefit from our program. That's how do we get comfortable having those difficult conversations?
I think it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right?
Sure.
It's the key, how you say it.
Well, one of the things we talked about is we're all judgmental. The first principle says don't criticize, condemn, or complain. We all do it, and we're judgmental in 4 ways. We judge people how they look. How's that guy look? Looking good. Okay, got the good. Do I look professional? Here again, my facial expression is real important. And that was something that I realized with the virtual. Yeah, that smile. Like, you greeted me and smile. Hey, Robert. Like, okay, I feel welcome. It's approachable. So how we look is real important. How we act. Do we act with confidence, not cockiness? And I had a young adult told me that, like, I always ask definitions of, what do you mean by confident? What do you mean by cocky? He said, confident is self-assured. Cocky is self-absorbed. Guy's like a little Zen master. Like, yes, but that's it. Self-assured. There's a humility to confidence. You're comfortable in your own skin. You're not trying to be something you're not.
Somebody else.
Yeah, and the cockiness is self-absorbed. And then, so how we look, how we act, and then right on, legit, what you said. It's not what we say, it's how we say it. And that a lot of the coaching I do, it's people and communication skills. They don't know how to play nice in the sandbox, and it's not what they say, it's how they say it.
That's all they say.
Have you had a situation with coaching people where you saw that this person has a distorted view of things? So if you say, for instance, I don't like blue, they understand like, what's wrong with blue because you're wearing blue? They feel attacked or something.
Sure.
Have you had this experience? Because this sometimes happen dealing with people, relationship with people can be difficult. How do you manage that situation where you always feel like you can't say anything because that person will get offended? Doesn't matter how you say it.
Yeah. Welcome to 2022. Everybody, yeah, we're all delusional. We all everybody's big about rights nowadays, but nobody wants responsibility. So it's, I don't like blue. Why are you wearing that blue? Well, because it's comfortable and I like it. Whatever it may be. If we need to tread softly, like people, if once again that gets back to, do we really have some type of rapport with them? If I got to be minding my P's and Q's and I got to worry about everything I said because it's going to upset this person, that's a toxic environment too. It's like, why are we doing this? So we have to sit down and find out, getting back to, what does this person need? What's the driver behind? What's the motivation behind that? And identify that and say, hey, listen, if this is real important, and everybody else on the team says, well, we can't get, we got to fit. Hey, is this person the right fit for our team? Or is this, they just got too many things, too many axes to grind? Because it's exhausting. It's exhausting, but it goes back to those first 9. Like, what type of rapport? Do people share stuff with you? That's why I go back with, in sales, the biggest challenge in sales is, how do I connect with somebody quickly? You and your professionals, you guys they're sitting there, they're in the chair, and they're having that conversation. Like, you make that connection instantaneously.
Right away.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you could just say, hey, well, where you at? Where do you want to go?
There's many barbershop owners and salon owners are watching us right now.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's this toxic person within our team, right?
Yeah.
How the other collaborators, other teamwork should act, should take that, how they should act.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Not act like, what's the word?
Well, respond to them.
To them, we'll respond to them.
Yeah, well, that shouldn't be their responsibility. That should be the owner needs to take that individual aside and say, hey, listen, these are the expectations. This is what I expect of you. What do you expect of me as your leader? And have that conversation and flesh out the delusions, like this and that. If somebody is having a negative effect on others, like if this individual is having a negative effect on others, that's the leader's role to step in and say this. It's not for the other people. They got to tolerate. They got to be professional, right? We're going to be professional. But ultimately, if 1 or 2 of them go to the owner and say, hey, listen, you got to do it. That's the owner's responsibility to step up and be firm.
Totally.
Friendly, and I don't say friendly, but I say friendly and firm. Because if I, as an owner, am only friendly, I understand what your needs and wants, your strengths, vision, all that good, we're not going to get stuff done. And at the end of the day, it's a business. And the flip side, if I'm firm but not friendly, I don't have that understanding, I'm just like accountable, people are going to be like, I don't want to work here.
I don't want to work here.
Yeah.
Totally.
You have to find the balance between firm and friendly, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with sales. I mean, sales, I can be real friendly and understand the client and needs, but eventually I got to ask for the business. And if they delay or hesitate, I'll say, well, help me understand why you're delaying, why you're hesitating. So I got to be both.
Why do you think people are afraid of selling?
Rejection.
A lot of people are afraid.
Yeah, it's rejection. I was afraid. Nobody wants to get rejected. Sales is a rejection business.
For many years, let me say, for about 15 years of my life as a barber, I was afraid of that rejection.
Sure.
And I look at myself as a barber, as an artist, not a salesperson.
Yeah.
And that is very strong in our industry. Let's say I want to be productive in our shop, in our business, and if I try to put that in a barber's head that is selling is telling. You're not pushing anything, but you can fix something, some problem. If the client has a flakes or a specific product that you say, they will teach that person how to use, they will benefit that person, and we have that strong belief that we are not a salesperson. So what would you say for those people that are listening, those people that think they are artists but are not salesperson?
Well, I would say this: be an artist. I think we're all artists. I'm an artist. Never thought I was, but I'm an artist. I'm painting my picture each day. I'm doing. At the end of the day, one of the things in Carnegie we talk about, nobody wants sales has a negative connotation because it's I'm selling you, I'm closing you. Who wants to be closed?
Exactly.
Like the words are just terrible. So in Carnegie, it's not selling, it's helping the buyer buy. Helping the buyer buy. And that, so words matter for me. And I'm a helper. I like to help. So if I'm an artist and I create and all this, well, what better way to create and help others to create their vision, right? It's not your vision for them, it's their vision for themselves. So, but you can be a part of that. You can help create that. So the mindset is there a fit between what I'm offering and what they want? And if there is, great. And if there's not,
Don't offer.
And all this is a conversation. And when you have them in that chair, guess what? Have a conversation. And that's it.
Like it comes back to those questions, right? You always asking questions and stuff. In our industry, what I do is I teach how they use the product, and I see what they need.
Perfect.
I don't push something that they don't need,
No.
and I let them decide by themselves. That's what I do.
And Chico, that's beautiful. That's what it's all about, because they're more apt to go with their decision than your decision. So, but if you listen, say, hey, Robert, I got flakes. Chico, what do you think? Well, this is a good thing. Try this. Okay. Oh yeah, I like that. I'm gonna get that. Okay.
You're solving someone's problem.
It's
helping.
the word sales. It's people throw that word out in the garbage pan and think about influence. That's really what we do. That's what I do. I'm not selling. I want to get people to think differently. I want people to feel differently. So if they start thinking and feeling differently, they're going to make a decision to be like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And we talked about presentations, public speaking. Presentations, get rid of the word. People think, same thing, negative connotation, get rid of it. Use the word conversation. I'm presenting right now, but I'm having a conversation. So that's words matter for me. And I think people get stuck on words like sales, presentation.
Closing.
Yeah, like who came up with that?
Closing,
Right?
That's a bad word.
Oh, it's a terrible word. Like,
Yeah. I'm part of a couple groups on Facebook of hairstylists, barbers, also salon owners, barbershop owners.
Yep.
And I noticed one thing in common is this difficulty in helping their team to perform better at retail, offering products.
mm-hmm.
So I think this come to the point where they think they're not sales rep, that Tico said.
Sure.
And then even if they offer commission and bonus,
Yeah.
we notice it's a challenge for
Sure.
our industry for them to understand that you're not actually selling, you're educating, you're being very professional doing a consultation and identifying what the person needs. But you answer my question, like why they don't do it. Fear of rejection. They are scared of the rejection because the client might say no.
Yeah.
But it's okay, right?
It's
Perfectly fine.
There's an analogy. I don't know if you're familiar with baseball. American baseball's big, the pastime, American pastime, and I use this analogy all the time. I say, listen, in a career, a baseball career, if an individual hits the ball 3 out of 10 times, he's a 300 hitter for his 10, 15, 20-year career. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's the best of the best. 3 out of 10 times. So what does that mean? That means 7 out of 10 times he's not getting on base. Well, sales, 1 out of 10 times, 2 out of 10 times. Like you're in the President's Club. So it is a failure business. And so the challenge is, how do we get the confidence to say, all right, they're going to say no. It's no
okay.
Today doesn't mean no forever. And that somebody said to that me one time, and it just changed me. Just no today doesn't mean no forever. But one of the things that people, the artists, are very good at, if you ask questions, just ask questions. Hey, what do you like about this? What do you like about this? And then just suggest. I'm not telling you, hey, well, you mentioned something. I think this would be good for it. Let's leave it like that. And so getting back to helping the buyer buy. And I'll tell you, my better half, she's a therapist. She does marriage and family counseling. The same thing. I always like helping her with sales because she's a therapist, and that was her training, whatnot. And she struggles at times. And I say, listen, are your clients going to get value from your service? She says yes. Follow up then. Give them a call. But it's that belief. We have to, like, for me, if you ask me 3 key things in sales, belief is number 1. You got to believe in your product. You got to believe what you're doing, your service. If you don't, you're done. because you get the
You have
projection.
to.
You have to. That's number one. The second is curious. You got to be curious. You got to ask questions. Hey, where you at? Where you want to go? All that good stuff. And the third one is grit, resilient. You just got to be resilient. Get no, okay. All right, have a good day.
Yeah.
One thing I think for the barbers, it's a little different when you're selling products. It's because you are seen as someone that really understands about hair.
Sure,
So your client is more likely to listen to you
sure.
because it's your knowledge. Same thing if you go to the doctor, you're expecting a medication. Whatever the doctor say, you're gonna believe. Same thing with barbers. They develop this trust relationship that
Yeah.
if Tico say, hey, listen, you should use this product, you're gonna believe him because that's his business. He knows what he's saying. So it's not really selling, right? You're seen as a specialist in that field. Like your wife, she's a psychologist. So whatever she say, people will buy it. You'll believe because she studied for that. If she say, okay, you're depressed, here what we're gonna do. This, and this will take you out of your depression.
Yep.
People will believe. She's an expert in that field.
Trust is based on credibility and empathy. So yeah. You just hit on the credibility part. Yeah, he's a this is his background. This is her background. They know this stuff. They got that credibility. That's why they're coming to you.
Yep.
So just say, hey, this. My suggestion would be this. I'd recommend this.
Yep.
You're the expert. Yeah, but it gets to the confidence. That's the confidence.
Always get to the point that you have to create that relationship. Don't matter what industry you
sure.
are. You know?
I'll give you a quick example. I had a program a couple weeks back, about a month ago, with contractors, plumbers, electricians. And the first thing I said to them, these are like tough, tatted up, all right, rough and fun. But like, I said, listen, fellas, you guys are in the people business. I know you don't think you are, but you are. And the same thing. They go into homes, they go into buildings, whatnot. They have a tremendous opportunity to really enhance the experience. They're not just there to fix whatever, the plumbing or the AC, whatnot. They're there to create an experience that people say, yeah, I want to hire this company again. Or you should.
And refer you to another. Yep.
Exactly. So we are all in the people business.
For sure.
I constantly tell them, my barbers that work with us, I constantly tell them that we are in the people business constantly.
Yeah.
Boss, Mr. Robert, thank you so much for the book. Thank
welcome.
you so much for coming. It was very relevant. You came here. All the answers was tremendous. My co-host here, she has the amazing question that I probably and for sure is helping a lot of people that are watching us.
Nice.
And I will be reading this. I will be highlighting
That's
and
right.
learning from this. I learned from you a lot. And can you leave any contact, the way people can find you
Sure.
and contact you?
Sure. My email address is robert.kelly, Kelly, at Dale Carnegie, DALECARNEGIE.com. So.
Any Instagram?
I'm not on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn.
Go
So I got the LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't know what Robert Kelly. You'll see the face if you see this. This is Dale Carnegie. I've been with them for 18 years. Like I said, executive coach, trainer, and speaker. So it's all good. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at my agenda. I'll probably go tomorrow and learn.
Okay,
from you.
excellent. Yeah, look forward to it. Have fun.
Thank you so much again for coming from Fort Lauderdale, and thank you for sharing your experience and all the knowledge you have to the Black Belt Barber Podcast. Guys, also follow me, Tico Invictus, on Instagram. And thank you very much.
You're welcome. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, sir.